where's my life gone? And all I've done is just want them numbers on the scale to come down. But I've just missed out on so much with the kids, like, because it's a sleeve, they take half your stomach and staple it at the same time.
God, it's the thought of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
even not in being in photographs and stuff, and
Yeah.
I've spent my whole life just trying to get them scales down. Yeah.
When you say screwed you over, what do you mean? Hey, it's Podcast with a Client, and I'm with one of my long-time clients. You've been working with me over a year now, haven't you? Julie Dunn.
18 months.
18 months, Julie Dunn. Welcome to another conversation piece. Now, Julie was shitting herself before she came on here, weren't you? Shitting herself.
I still am.
Oh my God. So we didn't have a schedule, did it? It was like last minute. Right, You're up from Leeds. Let's get you on a podcast. You're like, oh my God, what's going on? What's happening? Is this the first time you've ever been on a podcast?
Yes.
Is it? Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I like to treat it like a conversation, Julie.
Okay.
And just chat about shit, chat about struggles, chat about the things that you've overcame, stuff like that. Because you've been working with me 18 months now.
Yeah.
And you've said many times over about a previous eating disorder that you've had.
Yeah.
ADHD diagnosis that has happened over the last few years.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, because there'll be a lot of people listening to this who will relate very much to your story, your struggles. How long would you say you've had eating disorder for?
30 plus years.
Oh, really? That long? Right.
My sister took me to Weight Watchers when I was 17. So, of course, that just brought an eating disorder after that.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Was she overweight?
Not much.
No?
But, of course, coming from a family where if you were fat, you were a failure. So, it just came down.
Interesting.
I'm the youngest of 7, so it came down through.
So at that period, were you overweight then?
Probably 2 or 3 stone lighter than I am now.
Right.
Yeah.
So not massively, not really at all.
I probably didn't even need to go.
It's interesting that, isn't it? Because it's like this whole weight thing that everybody's obsessed with. And this
it's
is
just a number.
You're talking 30 years ago as well. Like
Yeah.
it's even worse now.
I know.
Because of social media and influence and all that stuff. So as time went on, Julie, what would you say has been your biggest struggle with the whole thing? Like, what's the hardest thing for you to grasp?
With the eating disorder?
Yeah.
See, it's hard because it's hand in hand with ADHD, because it's only recently, over the last 3 or 4 years, that I've realised that ADHD, you're chasing dopamine all the time.
Yes.
So you're chasing something, you want stimulation. So what you're going to turn to, a lot of them turn to food.
Yes.
ADHD, eating disorders do work hand in hand.
Absolutely, 100%.
So-
I can relate to that, not in terms of food, but I think I'm definitely some level of ADHD myself, although I've never been diagnosed or,
I've seen your fingernails.
I know,
that's
like,
one of them.
I'm always thinking, moving to the next thing, like wanting the next stimulation, a lot of screen time for me, a lot of distractions. I get a lot done, but it's also, it's quite stressful, isn't it? Like, mentally exhausting sometimes. You get to 9 o'clock at night, which, as we know, is our bedtime.
Yep.
9 o'clock, at TST. But it does get exhausting by the end at the end of the day, because your brain, they reckon that the average person has about 60,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
That's the science behind it. Like, for an ADHD brain, that could be double. That's
I have all that before I even get out of bed. When I get up on the morning, you're thinking, right, do I need to go to the gym? I need to cut down on calories today. I need to not cut down on my calories today. I need to eat more protein. Or I need to empty the bins. I need to do this. I need to do the shower. Should really go to work at so-and-so time. And that's before I even got out of bed.
Yeah.
So
Huge.
you're absolutely knackered.
So, going on with that, because you train from home.
Yeah.
With us at TST, you train online Zoom with our community that we've got on there, because you live a few hours away from the gym here in South Shields, and you've done it for well over a year now. Tell me the importance of a morning routine to help with your ADHD.
Just knowing that I set my alarm for 5:30, get on Zoom for 6, but it's just, I can't describe it. It's probably the most consistent I've ever been with exercise throughout my adult life.
Nice.
And I think that's just a mixture of everything. Like, say, the routine of doing it. Once you've done it, it's out of the way at 7 o'clock. You feel fantastic. You feel on top of the world.
Okay, so staying with that sort of eating disorder and coming up with that, you mentioned that a few years back, was it, you got a gastric sleeve?
Yeah.
So tell me why you went down that route.
Because I went to Weight Watchers, and that screwed me over.
When you say screwed you over, what do you mean?
Basically, I don't know if anybody's my age or anything, but when you were at Weight Watchers years ago, you had and peas. So you were allowed 3 lots of protein a day and 2 or 3 lots of bread a day.
Okay.
And there was only a small amount of that, and
Right.
then as much fruit as you wanted.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Weight dropped off me
Yeah.
because it was a stupid way of doing it, and
Unsustainable though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you just
any
balloon the
calories.
other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just.
So everything that I took out of my diet, I just started binging on that.
Nice.
So
okay. I hear you.
that's basically what happened there. So then I went to Slimming World. You know how bad Slimming World is, but it works while you're doing it.
Yes.
Again, you
Yes.
know, and that's why people keep going back, because it works as you're doing it.
Yes.
And then if they put the weight back on, they say, I'm going to start Slimming World again on Monday because it works.
Mm-hmm.
And now I say to people, if it works, how come you put the weight back on then?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it doesn't work. So going from that, and then there was Rosemary Conley, I think, and then there was all other stuff.
Yeah,
But having older sisters that struggled with food as well.
Yeah.
I was always tagging along with them to all these different places. And of course, my weight was just getting higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
Always liked exercise, always wanted to walk and stuff. But my weight reached, I think it was 21 stone.
And you're only, what, 5 foot? 5'1"?
1.5.
5'1.5". We'll get the half in there. Yeah, so that's quite
yeah.
on a BMI scale. That is like
Yeah,
severely
it was
obese.
54, I think, my BMI was. And I went to the doctors about something, and he actually said to me, have you thought about having bariatric surgery? And I was disgusted with him. I went out and I just cried. And because I said to him, no. Went out and cried. And I just thought, how dare he say that to me? I can do this on my own. And I just tried and tried again. And I used to actually, years ago, I worked on one of the bariatric clinics as a receptionist. Yeah, and I used to see people coming in, but I used to see a lot of poorly people as well, you know, and they had a certain look about them that you could tell they'd had bariatric surgery.
Wow.
Like a grey look about. They'd always wear bigger clothes because they wanted to hide all the loose skin and things.
Yeah.
People used to come, they'd have holes because of the surgery and infections and stuff. So it wasn't a great place to be. And I just thought, I don't want that for myself. But then as I struggled even more, went back to Slimming World, even though it didn't work, still go. And again, I think that was more about the community.
Yeah,
because it was a really
always.
good community.
Yeah,
and I ended
absolutely.
up working on the bench in Slimming World, you
Yeah.
know. And like taking money off people and stuff. So yeah, I went there again, lost a little bit more weight, put it back on again, and a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just went back to the doctor and just said, can you put me forward for this weight loss surgery?
Yeah.
So
And when was that?
That was probably about 4 years ago now.
Okay, so
Yeah.
after you had it, what initially happened in the first sort of 6 months?
Of course, you just rapid weight loss.
Yes.
You're literally on a bit of soup, protein shakes.
Because you feel full very, very quickly. That's the side effect of
They
it. Yeah?
basically, because it's a sleeve, they take half your stomach and staple it at the same time.
God, it's the thought of it.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I do understand that there is people who
Yeah.
have some great success, and actually, for some people, it is a life or death situation. Like if they don't lose weight, they will die.
Yeah.
And it's a necessity. However, you've had an experience where you've lost the weight, but you have discovered as well that we've talked about that you can't eat big meals at all now.
No.
Like you can't eat big portions. You can't enjoy a lot of your food that you'd like to. However, you can still eat a lot of calories.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why your weight can still fluctuate. Even though you've had the gastric band, you've told me you can eat lots of shit chocolate bars and sweets and things like that, but you can't eat big portions. So tell me a little bit about that.
Basically, because your stomach is it's probably, as he described it, size of a small banana. So I couldn't eat a full chicken breast with a bit of rice, which is something that I'd probably want to eat.
Yeah.
Or any sort of meat with a few vegetables and mash or anything.
Yeah.
I can't do that, but I can eat a share bag of Revels and maybe a couple of packet of crisps and some chocolate bars, because it's all called what's it called, slider foods, because it like mushes up.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas meat will sit there, won't it?
Yeah.
Even though you chew it.
Yes.
Whereas these are all called slider foods, so I could smash 1,500 calories in. but yet I can't eat a chicken breast and a bit of rice.
That's mad, isn't it?
I know.
And the thing
but
is,
they don't tell you that when you first go
and as
for
well,
it.
like, you know, there's not, you can't sort of point the finger at one person, but food companies and food manufacturers understand this.
Yeah.
This is why even a normal person who doesn't have gastric surgery can't eat a big family bag of Doritos or Revels and then ice cream and crisps and chocolate and sweets on top of that. But if you get them to eat 2 chicken breasts and a banana, they're done for hours.
Yeah.
Because the fibre in the food and the way it operates in the body, this is why it's important to eat more single ingredient foods. But that's what you've had done, is actually stopped you from doing that in many ways. So obviously that's going to be a struggle, because you can now consume a hell of a lot of calories, which means that your weight is obviously not going to stay off as you want it to.
No.
So what do you think for you has been the further disadvantages of getting the surgery? Not just the fact that you can not eat like a decent large meal like you'd like to, and you can eat that, but what else has been the negative effect of the surgery for you?
There's all sorts, and there's still things cropping up now, because my body won't absorb things like a normal stomach would. So I have iron supplements, but then it's still not absorbing them like it should be. So I'm having to have my bloods done every 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Magnesium. What's the other thing? So there's iron, magnesium, and there's something else, zinc as well. It's not absorbing that, so I'm having to change all different medications.
So your health is at risk, really.
Oh yeah,
even more so from.
And I think it'll probably just get worse, because there's other bloods that I don't really understand. I've spoke to the doctor about. The bloods are all over the shop.
So how do you, now you've started this new sort of healthy lifestyle with fitness most mornings, and obviously I'm teaching you what I know about good nutrition and health, like I do with everybody. Obviously, I'm not a dietitian or I'm not really experienced in giving advice for those with gastric bands. However, what have you adopted over the last 18 months since you've started training regularly, being in a health and fitness group like TST? What have you adopted that's helped keep you going? Obviously, you've said that your weight's kind of up and down still. You still have your binges. You're like everybody. You'll still sometimes go to the shop and eat shit like when you have a low day. But, like, this week you've came off for a bit, you've trained, you've looked after yourself more, you're in a good headspace right now. So what's been the positive things that you've implemented, given that you've got this gastric sleeve and you've got these issues?
I think there's all sorts, having the sleeve, you've got to concentrate on protein anyway, but that goes because you don't really, for the first year or so I tried to, but then of course I don't want a chicken breast and for it to sit there solid for hours, because of course you can't, got stepping back a little bit, but you can't eat and drink together. So you've got to have 20 minutes. You can have a drink, 20 minutes later you can have food.
All right, wow.
And depending on what you've eaten, because if I eat chicken, because I can eat a small amount of chicken, which I'm trying to do at the moment, chicken and a bit of cheese or whatever, then that'll sit heavy. So I probably can't have a drink then for about an hour, maybe 2 hours if my stomach's full with chicken. So again, and I work out and stuff, so I want to drink water. So you end up being dehydrated. Right. So it's hard getting it, because you've got to time everything.
Yeah.
But I think working with TST and listening to you and speaking to you about protein and stuff, I do try and have protein, but of course if I can't have the chicken, then I'll have other things like eggs and cottage cheese and stuff. So I try and just have smaller meals and keep myself fuller for longer with protein.
Yeah. So
I'm not snacking as much. And then I've spoke to Tracy, and she's given me a lot of advice on snacking.
Yeah, good.
But I'm still under the eating disorder clinic now, and a lot of it's the guilty side of it, and not labelling things nutritious and good and bad. It's nutritious food and non-nutritious food. That's and I think that's one of the main things for me, and getting rid of that guilt. If you want something, have it, and don't feel guilty, because if you feel guilty, you're gonna have 2 or 3 of them.
Absolutely,
Fuck it, I might as well have full bag of Revels now.
This is huge. Like, feeling guilty over food choices is one of the most disempowering things you can do, because it's just a downward spiral, right?
Yeah.
Rather than accepting it is what it is. I've overdone. Right, what can I do better moving forward? How can I moderate this? Because technically you could have a full day binging, but if you're the next 6 days in a great deficit, exercising well, looking after your hydration levels, etc., you could still actually lose weight if your calorie balance is right. So I'm curious, when if we're talking about the exercise part of things, because I know obviously the diet, when you say diet, I use that term to describe what goes in my mouth, what we eat,
food,
right? But most people use it in terms of a
losing
diet,
weight,
something I temporarily do to lose weight, which is a bad way to see it, I feel. It's not a very useful way to see diet. I think diet should be what you consume. Simple as. And basically we're on a diet throughout life, but we shouldn't be on a diet off a diet. We should just find a way that works for us, which includes treats and things we want alongside things our body needs. But that's the hardest part for people to grasp, because food is on the mind all day, right? Especially if we have an ADHD style brain, it's on again, but it's not like exercise is easy to get a handle on, because basically you only have to think about it once a day or 3 or 4 times a week. Food you have to think about 10, 15, 20 times a day. Easy, right? That's why it's so hard to get a handle on the diet, and people try and start with the diet. But what I've noticed from helping a lot of people, and I know this has massively helped you, Judy, was starting the exercise has helped everything else fall into place. So tell me a little bit about how, now that you're in sort of a routine where you train with us live 4 days a week, you do little bits in between, you walk the dog more, you're more active generally at home as a result of getting up and doing a morning routine. How does exercise positively affect your diet? Do you tend to eat better as a result of exercising regularly?
Yeah, and when I've exercised on a morning, I always make sure I get something to eat, even if I'm rushing around, or if I know I'm exercising, I'll plan the night before what I'm having that morning, or prep it, and then I'll have it the next day. So the day seems to run smoother, and you make better choices, because you feel on top of the world. And
even if we talked about this before, even if you make a bad choice, you can use that as fuel. You can burn it off. I know it's not the ideal attitude, but if you have a family-sized bag of Revels or whatever it is that you mentioned, you can think, right, okay, well, I'm going to burn this off later. It's obviously it's not a great mentality to be in, but at least it's better than saying, oh, I've had that, I feel guilty, I shouldn't have done it, I'm shit, life's crap, why bother? You could just say, right, well, I've used that, I've got to get me horse training now, because I've got enough fuel and no excuse.
I do that when I have my bag of Revels on a Saturday night. Thanks for that, Luke, it's all right, I'm going for a walk in the morning.
Yes, there you go, see, you got to use it positively. I love it. All right, so what would you say, couple of different questions here, what would you say is your most proud achievement?
I think last year's Tough Mudder and Total Warrior, so 2 of them.
Nice. And we're also, as the time of recording this, we're 2 days away.
2 days away,
2 days away from the next Total Warrior, which will be even better. And you'll enjoy even more. Amazing. But that's amazing, right? Because for somebody like yourself, right? Obviously, you've been severely overweight in the past. You've had eating disorders. A lot of people would be in that headspace of, I'll never be able to do anything like that. I'll never be able to run, do an event like that, or be fit and healthy and strong. And I think that's obviously, it's just a story that people have in their minds. And you probably had that for a lot of years yourself earlier in the year. And I think it's down to how we see ourselves, really. So I'm just curious, like, playing on that, because that's an amazing achievement. For anybody that's listening to this, watching this, thinking, I wish I could do that one day. Like, one day I'd love to run a half marathon, do the Great North Run, do a marathon, do a Tough Mudder, climb a mountain, whatever. What would be your advice to that person who's in the headspace you were in 20 years ago?
You can do it. It might seem quite far out of your reach, and it was for me, being 21 stone. But I've got there. I had surgery. People think it's the easy option, but it wasn't. But if our paths had have crossed a lot sooner before my surgery, I could see myself of doing all this, and losing the weight, and doing it. So it's not too far out of reach.
That's cool. That's good to hear as well. And I mean, obviously, this is never. We're not going to be anti-surgery here, because it does help a lot of people. It's more like hearing the story of someone who hasn't necessarily had the positive experience.
You see, this is it. If I hadn't have had the surgery, it swings and roundabouts. If I hadn't have had the surgery, then, because our paths cross with Chris Tibbetts, the emotional eating coach.
Yes.
You came on and spoke about your book.
Don't know if you know, I've written 2 books now. Don't go on about it very much.
And you broke your ankle, but we don't talk about
I broke my ankle 8 months ago. Don't know if I mentioned it before.
So, you came on and I liked what you were talking about and stuff. and you're good eye candy. But
Thanks.
apart from that, yeah. And, I started reading your book and then started following you on Facebook and stuff and seeing what sort of thing that, with the TST, what you do. Now, if I hadn't have lost weight, would I have joined that? I don't really know.
Yeah, true.
Because,
you could see it either way.
Because, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but the group that you've got, the TST, I suppose my self-worth and my self-esteem were that low that I probably thought that actually this isn't for me. This is for fitter people.
Yes.
And, people totally different to me. I'm from a council estate and I'm thinking, this is people who've got money and, I know, but that's
perception.
the shit that you think,
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
not though. It's mad,
Yeah, no,
isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you just put all these fitness people on a pedestal and you just think they're high up there and you'll never get up there. So would I have joined you if I were 21 stone? I don't really know. Because I probably didn't know that much about you.
Yeah.
So,
But now you see it as like
Yeah.
everybody's in a different space.
It doesn't matter what shape or size you are, in that room or even on Zoom, because we're all there doing the same thing, just wanting to better ourselves.
Yeah. So what do you think so far has been the best thing about TST?
The fact that it must be that good that I've stayed consistent.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I've dieted for a lot of years, exercised on different things, joined all sorts, and TST I've done for 18 months, and even my husband and my friends say I don't know how you do it 4 days a week, but it's just routine now.
Yeah.
I can't see myself not doing it.
It's become part of not just your habits,
Yeah.
but it's become part of your identity now.
Yeah.
You kind of view yourself as a fit, active person.
Yeah.
Which that's ultimately the goal, I think, because a lot of people, I think you probably agree with this, but a lot of people think that the goal is to lose 5 stone.
Yeah.
Where the goal should be the side effect. The goal
Yeah.
should be to become a fit, active, and healthy person, right?
Yeah.
It's a totally different mindset change, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
when you get to that point where you're always active and fit and you want to do things with your body and your life, the weight comes off easier then, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, especially with the weight, because having the surgery and joining Weight Watchers at 17, my whole 30 odd years have been about the scales.
Yeah.
And even when I first joined you, it was still about the scales. But now I realise that it's not. I just want to be the fittest I can. I want to run around with my grandkids.
Yeah.
I want to just be healthy and feel great. And it doesn't matter what them scales say. Yeah, I want to be lighter so I can run faster, and I can do more bastard burpees.
Yeah.
But it's not about that number on the scale. So, and that's one of the things I've realised.
Yeah, massively. You're more hooked on the performance side of things now, like how you move, what you do with your body.
Yeah.
And it's a totally different mindset, because then you steer away from I need to diet towards I need to get my arse moving, which is a different thing. And then your diet just falls into place.
Yeah.
And I think people as well have this warped perception that they need to be perfect.
I know, well,
we have that perfectionist approach, right?
Well, I reach out to you and Tracy all the time because, and I struggle with, I see a lot of people on the social media and stuff, and they are perfect, even yourself, and Tracy, we all think that you're perfect and you eat absolutely perfect diet, but, we know you don't now. But it's hard because if you're not perfect, then it's almost like you feel like you're a failure. But it's knowing that you don't have to be perfect all the time. There's a grey area in between, not black and white. Again, that's ADHD, black and white thinking.
Yeah.
But, there's a grey area in between.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that's where all the wins are. That's where all the progress is. That's where all the joy is.
Yeah.
This journey. It's almost like, because we pay too much attention to, where we're at and where we should be. And we're like, I'm so far away, I'm shit, I'm terrible, I'll never get there.
Yeah.
And we'll forget about all this joy that's on the journey, all this thrill that's in the process of all the ups and downs.
I know, when losing the weight, and I mean, I'm 52 now, so I obviously wanting to lose weight for 30 odd years, if not 40 years. And I got down to, I'm probably a stone heavier than I was a couple of years ago, but I got down to that. And it's almost sad because I just think, where's my life gone? And all I've done is just want them numbers on the scale to come down.
And that's where many people live, isn't it? And they spend their entire lives thinking that way. And it comes from parents and society and culture and now, unfortunately, social media. But when the penny drops, which it has, it's like, I don't need to now look on that. It's kind of like now it's spilt milk, really, innit? You just got to wipe it up and move on.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate thing is that sometimes it does take time to get past that, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I've still got a good few years in me. But I've just missed out on so much with the kids and, you know... not even being in photographs and stuff, and I've spent my whole life just trying to get them scales down, and it's very sad.
But what's the beauty in that is that now the goal is different. Now you see it. I just love life now. Yeah. You know, I was talking to Michelle last night at TST, and she was saying how she does after evenings, and I said, oh no, I'm a morning person. She said, oh, I am. She said, but you know, and I said, well, I set my alarm for 5:30. I said, but I wake up before that anyway. So you know, my body clock is just, I get up at 5:20 and dive out of bed and ready for the day. Amazing.
Zoom, because I know I'm going to feel fantastic at 7 o'clock.
And what I love about this conversation and working with you, Julie, is that you can't come to South Shields in the gym. You live 2 hours away, which is incredible. So I want to just know on this final point, like, because there's people listening to this, watching this, who don't live in South Shields, who don't maybe live near a gym where they'd feel comfortable, or a community of fitness where they'd want to get involved. So to that person who's watching thinking, I'd love to do something like that, but I can't get to a gym, you're the perfect example of, well, you don't have to. You can do it from home. All you need is a kettlebell and yourself and a little bit room to train, whether it be in a garage or a living room. You train in the kitchen, right? You train in your own fucking kitchen. Literally, you train in your kitchen. You're letting the dog out on a morning. You know, your husband's getting ready for work while you're training. You've just got us on the TV and you're on the kitchen floor, which is mint. Because that's just like, right, there's no excuse. You just have to get out of bed, turn the Zoom on, and you're good to go. So what advice would you give to somebody who is like, I'd love to do that, but I can't get access to a gym, and I'm too fat and I'm too useless and all that. What would you say to them? Just give it a go. It's just so much easier. I mean, of course, if I lived up here, I'd be coming to the gym. Yeah. But it's so much easier because, as I've always said, you've got to think, how many times do people here, are they as consistent as me on Zoom? Because if it's raining, or look out at the door, I'm not going to the gym today, I'm going to get piss wet through. If it's snowing, I can't get car out, you know, or it's cold, or I've got to take dog, or, you know, anything can happen, but you've not got them excuses at home. You can, you know, you don't even have to brush your teeth. You don't have to brush your hair. You don't have to do anything. You just literally... Put some clothes on and that's
it. You don't even need a firm bra.
Well, there you go.
That's just the men.
Sorted, I know. Sorted.
No, but, and it, you know, nobody's watching. I mean, we're watching what you're doing on the screen, but we're all shapes and sizes, and nobody, you know, everybody it's just a great community, even when you're up here, but even on Zoom, we have our own little Zoom community, you know, with his own banter that is sort of part of TST, but not with all the other guys, and we just all like bounce off each other and help each other. And you know, if somebody's achieved something, they'll put it on, and we all praise each other, accountability in there, and it's just really good. And it's just nice, you know, and then when you do your events, to see people that you've only ever seen on Zoom, and I'd call them all friends now, you know, nice. Rather than just Zoomers. Yeah, we're all good friends.
Amazing. I love it. Let's finish off with some quick fire questions. There's no right or wrong answer in this, just whatever comes to your head. Okay. Greatest movie that you've ever seen?
You'll laugh. Flight of the Navigator.
All right, that's an old one. That's an 80s one. I remember that. There's a
I don't sit still. I've got ADHD.
There's a documentary on that, on what happened after that, and I think the guy went in a really bad downward spiral. The young lad who was in it.
Right.
It's on Prime. I haven't seen it. Worst movie ever. What do you think? It's not an easy question.
Oh, I once went to see one with what was it called? Is it Quentin Tarantino? He did a film, and I sat through it, and I just didn't get any of it.
Don't say Pulp Fiction.
No.
That's one of the greatest ones ever.
Yeah, but I went to...
well, he's done 8 now, hasn't he?
I think. It was about 15, maybe 20 years ago. And people were just walking out of the cinema, so I don't know what it was called.
Okay,
but
I can't remember. I can't, okay, so
Well, anyway, with that one.
greatest band or musical performer?
Roxette.
And what about the worst band or musical performer?
Westlife.
Oh, okay then. What's the best food in the world?
Depends what day of week it is. If it's Friday night, it's Revels.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wednesday,
I don't know
Wednesday lunchtime then? What is it?
I don't know because I'm restricted now, so I can't have
True.
what I want
What's
anymore.
your well, we know Revels is your favourite. What else?
Okay.
Actual food.
Fish fingers, mash,
Yeah?
and peas.
Oh, right, nice.
Yeah.
What's your worst food?
I wouldn't eat anything scampi or octopus.
Oh, really?
Won't-
Fish,
no.
fish stuff. Right. Okay. Okay. Last one. Best exercise.
Burpees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love them.
Worst-
You know why I like them? It's because I'm good at them
That's
now.
exactly what. See, you're learning. I think
Yeah,
somebody
I know.
else has said that somewhere that might have taught you that.
Yeah.
Right. Last one. Worst exercise.
The one where you sit on the floor, you lift your legs up, and you move kettlebell.
Russian twist.
Yeah, that's it.
They
Because
suck.
I'm not very. I have 2 pins in the bottom of my back, so
Right.
yeah, it hurts. And that's it.
Amazing. Well, Julie, thank you for being my guest and this amazing
you.
guest with this fantastic conversation on a podcast with a client.
Cheers.
We'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Amazing. If you'd like to learn how to create outstanding levels of energy, motivation, and self-control, my second book, Supercharged, the modern day guide to doing exactly that, is out now.